This is NIADA TV, the official streaming TV show for the National Independent Automobile Dealers Association, whose mission is to promote, educate, and advocate for the nation's independent dealers. Let's get today's show started. Welcome to NIADA TV, the official streaming show of the National Independent Automobile Dealers Association. I'm your host, Corey Mosley, and I'm thrilled to have you with us. Today's episode is packed with valuable insights, including my interviews with NIADA CEO Jeff Martin and Cox Automotive Senior Director Jeremy Robb. Jeremy will be sharing his expert analysis and predictions for used vehicle values in the coming year. But before we dive in, let's take a look at some of the latest headlines shaping the industry. Wholesale used vehicle prices had their largest weekly decline in more than a year this past week. According to Black Book's Market Insights, wholesale vehicle prices fell 0.81% this week. Prices declined 0.44% the week before. All 22 segments followed by Black Book declined more than 0.3%. Subcompact cars had the largest drop of 1.27% or $83. The average used vehicle loan dropped in the third quarter of 2024 from the same period in 2023. According to Experian's 2024 third quarter automotive finance market report, the average used vehicle loan was $26,091. That was $1,195 below the average 2023 third quarter loan. It was also $218 less than the second quarter amount. The finance rate was slightly above the 2023 figure, rising from 11.56% to 11.74%. The average term dropped from 67.44 months in 2023 to 67.15 in 2024. The U.S. Senate continues confirmation hearings for President Donald Trump's cabinet appointment. His choice for the Department of Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, has earned praise from senators on both sides of the aisle, citing his qualifications and history of public service. Duffy is a former Wisconsin congressman, district attorney, and more recently, TV host. He represented the Wisconsin 7th District from 2011 to 2019. Before entering politics, he was a reality TV star, appearing on multiple shows, including The Real World. For more details on these news stories and the latest in industry news, head over to niada.com/dashboard. Recently, I got a chance to sit down with NIADA CEO Jeff Martin to discuss the new NIADA TV, the upcoming convention, and his thoughts for 2025. Here's that conversation. Now, we certainly can't kick off NIADA TV without checking in with NIADA CEO Jeff Martin. He's joining me right now. Jeff, thank you for stopping and talking with us today.
Absolutely, Corey. Thank you. We're excited about you being part of the team, and obviously we're excited about NIADA TV and all of the opportunities that it's going to bring to our members.
So let's talk about that. Let's just talk about what the goal and mission of what we're setting out to accomplish together here with this streaming show.
Yeah, so Corey, really it's twofold. We have recognized over the last couple of, I'm going to say years, that a lot of people digest information through video probably better than they do in written form or even in, the emails that we've been sending out. So we're looking at taking some of the content that we currently have, being able to distribute that to our members in a different format. But another thing that we're very excited about with NIADA TV is we really want to use this platform to be able to tell the story of our members through their eyes. And so you'll see with a lot of the interviews that we have, it'll include interviews with our dealers explaining how the industry is working and operating for them, but clearly through their eyes.
Now, you've got big plans for 2025 for the association. Why don't you give us a little preview of some of those initiatives?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously NIADA TV launching that at the beginning of 2025 is one of our exciting priorities. We have a lot of new education that we're going to be introducing. We're going to build on our 20 groups. We've got boot camps that we're going to be offering. We're going to be working with our state affiliates to offer education for our dealers across the country. We've got Certified Master Dealer Program that'll be launching in August. We're excited to be bringing that back. And then we're really excited to kind of double down on our effort in our legislative and our regulatory impact to the industry. NIADA for years has really has been the voice of the independent dealers, and we really want to spend some more time making sure that we're we're doing the job that we need to be doing, speaking out for and protecting the industry.
100%. And I know there's just so much going on, a lot of initiatives there. It's going to be a lot of value in 2025. Now, before I let you go, we have to talk about this year's convention. Share the detail. I know registration is open. What can you tell our viewers about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Registration just opened last Wednesday. We already have dealers registering. It's only $545 for a dealer member to register. It's a great value. Now that runs through May 23rd, which is the early bird cutoff. We're going to have 5 concurrent tracks, over 50 hours of education. It'll be everything from retail to management to compliance. If you're looking for education on service, buy here, pay here, we're gonna cover the gamut. And of course, the networking is probably the most valuable thing that you find at the convention. We'll have that as well. And then obviously we'll crown our National Quality Dealer of the Year on Tuesday. So certainly looking forward to that.
So I think you're basically want everybody to get registered now. Yes.
I would say register now. Let me say this real quick. We also partnered with AutoZone and all that. And so the sooner you register, we're going to have 10 drawings. Up to 50 dealers will have an opportunity to participate in a car driving experience on a closed course, driving a souped up vehicle as fast as you want to drive it. We're going to give that away to 50 people. The sooner you register, the more times you'll have an opportunity to be in the drawing and to win.
Wow. This seems like definitely the one to attend. We want to see all of our members, sponsors, all the support there. Jeff, fantastic. Thanks for stopping by. And we're going to be having you back. So you're not off the hook. We're going to have you back throughout the year at NIADA TV. Jeff Martin, CEO of NIADA. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Corey, and certainly welcome to the team. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Join us in Las Vegas for the largest event in the independent auto industry. That's right, the 2025 NIADA Convention and Expo is being held June 23rd through the 26th at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and registration is now open. This event features 5 tracks of education with sessions led by industry experts, plus the largest exhibit hall for used car dealers. Take advantage of early bird registration and get entered to win a chance to participate in the NIADA Supercar Driving Experience sponsored by AutoZone All Data. Visit NIADA.com/convention for full details and to save $200 with early bird registration. I'll see you there. Senior Director Jeremy Robb from Cox Automotive has some valuable insights for 2025 that dealers need to hear about. Recently, he joined me virtually from Franklin, Tennessee to provide his outlook for the retail and wholesale markets in 2025. Take a look. I'm thrilled to be joined by Jeremy Robb, Senior Director with Cox Automotive. He's here to share his insights on the retail and wholesale used vehicle marketplace. Jeremy, welcome to NIADA TV.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here today.
Absolutely. Exciting news going into January. Here we are, 2025. Let's talk used vehicle values. Let's get right to it. What's your outlook for used vehicle values over the next year?
Yeah, I love talking about used vehicle values. We have so much data at Cox and Manheim to measure this, and looking at the used retail market too. I would say throughout most of 2024, we kind of saw values that were down a little bit year over year. But when we got to Q4 of this past year, I feel like we've kind of hit the bottom, for used vehicle prices for a while anyway, outside of some, factor coming in like a recession or something like that. The retail used vehicle prices are down about 3%, and they're down relative to their peak a couple of years ago, but they're still much, much higher, right, than they have been higher than back 2019, 2020 levels on both the wholesale and the used retail side. And just with supply being what it is and everything in the marketplace and how those dynamics work together, our outlook is that vehicle depreciation will be fairly normal over the next year or two, but probably less than what we've seen over the past couple of years.
I mean, let's think about the impact also of off-lease supply, right? That's another factor here. Why does off-lease supply matter so much, kind of transferring over from the new car side into the used car market?
Yeah, that is a great question, and I appreciate you asking that. OEMs exist to make new cars, and they have factories and manufacturing plants that make new cars, and there is not a used car factory. The used car supply inputs are totally dependent on what happens with new cars. And so we think about back to 2020 and 2021 when volume and production was really curtailed due to those constraints in the marketplace overall. We got lower new car production. What you also had was a lot lower new car leasing for the industry overall, because leasing is really expensive for OEMs to do for an incentive basis on how they do that. And so leasing got down to be about 16% of all new car sales. Historically speaking, it's pretty normal to be around 33%. So kind of cut in half. And it's been slowly, coming back up, but right now we're around 24 or 25%. But what happens is that most new car leases, they're written on 36-month terms or 3-year terms. And those customers are in that lease for about 3 years, and then they turn it in. That's what we call lease maturities in the marketplace. Dealers can buy those cars. The customer could buy that car outright at the end of that lease. And given that 2021 was really the low point for new car production and the low point for leasing, last year we got to 2024, the end of 2024, we saw lease maturities decline a lot, and we ended at a level in 2024, but we're just going to be flat for all of 2025. And so that means that we're going to see 17% lower lease maturities into the used vehicle supply chain than we saw in 2024 through the whole year of 2025. And it's not going to get a lot better until we get to probably April or May in 2026. And those cars, they supply a lot of CPO products for used car dealers at franchise units, and they just supply the industry. In fact, if you look at Manheim and all of our inventory that we have, or in the total used car retail marketplace inventory, and you think about vehicle cohorts being like the age of the vehicle, the 3-year-old is usually the biggest number one age unit of all groups, whether that's wholesale or retail. And so it's declining, and that's really important. It puts pressure on the rest of the marketplace.
Well, I hate to follow up. I wanted to have some great optimism here, right? I hate to follow up that question, kind of when you shaped the future there with lease maturity. I hate to follow it up with the question about risk, but what are some of the risks that you see, in the market over the next year? I guess in addition to what you just mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question too. The number one risk, I think, for used car values, and anybody in the marketplace with used cars knows this, right? That used car is really linked in the value of that car to that new car, right? So if OEMs come out and they juice production a whole lot, you know what they're going to do? They're going to increase incentives. And when you increase incentives, that lowers the price of the new car. When you lower the price of the new car, you lower the price of the used car. Now, for a consumer, that's probably good. That means affordability is a bigger factor at play. But for people that manage fleet companies and management companies and used car dealers that are trying to say, okay, what is this car going to be worth? And lending companies, for sure, they're going to lend money against that car. The value of those cars matters a lot. So a risk could be that we see a little bit higher new car production and the sales space slows down on that. They have to increase incentives. That would have a big increase or a big impact on the used car marketplace. And the other thing that I think people know about, but I think it's a risk factor too, is just thinking about interest rates for the economy. Interest rates have been really high for the past couple of years. And even though the Fed has already lowered rates 3 times, the outlook for this year is supposed to be they're going to cut rates by another 0.5 point. But people don't know that, because inflation is still hanging around above 2%. People are having to spend a lot more money on groceries still and things like that. And we can't get interest rates to come down enough to really offset affordability levels. And if you couple that with what I was saying originally, that we think we may have hit kind of the bottom with those used car prices, that means vehicle affordability may not be getting a whole lot better over the next year. And I say that that's something that I think is a real big impact. I feel like consumers need much more affordable products on both the new car side and the used car side. And so affordability is really paramount to everything we look at.
No, for sure. Well, we got about a minute left, Jeremy. Now, there's a rule here that we don't end on any bleak outlooks. So what I'd love to give for you before we wrap up today is what are some of the positive outlooks, or what are some of the things that can be exciting and should be exciting for 2025 in the used vehicle market?
Yeah, and I don't want to misconstrue comments. Maybe I was talking about a few things that could impact us, but the the used car retail space ended the year pretty strong. What happened over the course of December? We know new car sales were really strong in December. Used car sales were actually pretty good. Now, they didn't increase a lot in December, but that's actually normal. Usually, used cars or sales and transactions kind of decline a little bit over the last couple of weeks of a year, last month of a year. We didn't see that this year. We saw actually pretty flat trends. That means there's more demand out there in the marketplace overall. And I think that's going to translate into 2025. Even if we think about the supply inputs overall being a little bit more constrained, a lot of people need to replace their car. It's really expensive to repair your car. We know that on a new car, but they're weighing, should I just keep repairing this car or buy a new car? And sometimes they're at a position where it's time to go get a replacement car, a used replacement car. And so they're coming out there and buying cars. The other thing that we've seen, it's a small part of the overall industry. It's about 2.3% of all used car sales. But used EVs have picked up quite a bit over the last year. There was a tax incentive that was offered on used EVs. And we ended the year with day supply for used EVs being about 3 days lower than ICE day supply or internal combustion engine units on the used car side. So that's kind of a factor too, and I think it really plays into those affordability things we've seen. So as we go through this year, the Trump administration is going to come in. We're going to learn what they're really planning to do. I'm sure that's going to have some impact on what happens with OEMs and new vehicles. But used car, there is pretty good demand out there, even if the supply is a little bit lower. And I think, there's no reason to see that really declining anytime soon, unless for whatever reason, we got into a recessionary environment.
Right. Well, we are going to leave it there. Lots to unpack there, Jeremy. And I look forward to checking in with you later this year to see how all of these things are progressing. Jeremy Robb, Cox Automotive, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. If you'd like to connect with Jeremy to continue this discussion, he can be reached at jeremy.robb@coxautoinc.com. Well, that does it for today's show. Thanks for watching, and be sure to share this episode with your industry friends, partners, and colleagues. I'm Corey Mosley for NIADA TV, and I will see you next time.